Welcome to Let That Sink In. My name is Tiffany Smith, and I am the Director of Marketing and Communications here at PM and Associates. And I am joined by my co-host, Todd Morgan. How are you, Todd?
Wonderful. Thank you.
And Todd is an outside sales rep in St. Louis. And we are on episode 6. I cannot even believe it. Episode 6 of Let That Sink In. And we are welcoming Bob Murdock, who is the president of Murdock Manufacturing. Bob is a Cincinnati native and graduated from Miami University. He's married to his wife, Patty, and has 2 children and has been with the family business since he was about 3 years old and is a 5th generation Murdock in the business. Welcome, Bob. How are you doing?
I'm well, Tiffany. Thank you, Todd. Appreciate being on the line here. Thank you
great
so
to
much.
have
I need
you
to
here.
get a fancy microphone like you guys, though.
I
I've only got my headset.
We didn't have time to ship one out to you.
I'm sorry. I've got my Quickie Mart headset on here, so I'm all fine.
Yeah, we're excited to have you here.
Excited to have you, Bob.
Thank you.
And before we get into it, you mentioned that you love antique classic cars and boats, and I think you also own a marina. Is that right? I'd love to hear a little bit more about that.
We, since Murdock's always been involved in water, and Morris Group International is water, I like to keep it all in the family. Absolutely.
That's great.
That's neat. Is your marina in California?
No, the marina is in northern Michigan. And I use the marina kind of as a beta test for all the products that we have in Morris Group. I have obviously the water coolers and hand washing there. I have the safety there. I have J.R. Smith trench drain in the marina. I use it as a beta test for all the new products that come out. So I have a lot of use in the 90 days of bad ice that we have up north, called summer.
Yeah.
So
that's neat.
Fantastic.
I like that. It's pretty cool.
So let's just get right into Murdock. Let's talk about Murdock. And you guys have been around since 1853.
Yeah.
And you originally started out in the water hydrant industry, correct?
Right. My great-great-grandfather came over from Ireland, the potato famine and whatnot. Actually had met my great-great-grandmother over there and moved over to Cincinnati back in the early 1800s. And he joined a friend, and it was called Lacey and Murdock, as a matter of fact. They were tinners by trade, and but they opened the company in 1853. And in 1857, my grandfather patented what was called the first anti-freezing hydrant. When public water systems became available, when pressure water was available, that hydrant was very important to people who lived north of the Mason-Dixon line, that you had to be able to go out and get a drink of water. And actually, before that, it was a hydrant that would operate year-round. And the trick was that any water that did not exit the nozzle would drain down back below the frost line and out into the ground. It was a very simple type of hydrant. You could fix it with hand tools because, of course, they didn't have any battery-operated tools to work on things. So it was very simple. 3 leather washers, 3 tanned leather washers can service the hydrant. And still 100 plus years later, I can still service that Murdock hydrant with 3 leather washers.
That's so cool.
So,
and I would assume that the technology really hasn't changed much since then.
No, that's exactly right, Todd. It hasn't changed much. The beautiful part about that simplicity is that I have YouTube videos, and I call them the fat old white guy videos, and I could show you online how to fix a 100-year-old Murdock hydrant. So it's almost like Lee Iacocca selling you a K car. We can repair that 100-plus-year-old Murdock drinking fountain or hydrant. So
that's cool.
That's really cool. And I sell this stuff all over the world. People call me, email me, hey, I saw your video. Can you help me with this? And they're so amazed that there's a Murdock still alive to be able to do that. So
that's so great.
At this point in time, I pinch myself, and yes, I'm still here. Yes.
So it's the 5th generation, right? Fifth generation.
Yes, ma'am. Yep.
That's amazing.
So we have indoor, we have outdoor, we have sanitary hydrants, we've got regular hydrants. And when you look at Acorn, Murdock, and Smith, we have a broad spectrum of hydrants for outdoors, whether it's from light commercial to heavy duty. We can go light commercial for the home. We can go heavy duty to the wastewater treatment plant, and also Amtrak. We sell hydrants to Amtrak, for rapid rail and things like that. So
that's something you're spec'd in with Amtrak?
We are. We are
spec'd in
with Amtrak. Yeah. For sanitary hydrants, we put water on board the cars in one.
Nice.
So it's a special type of hydrant that does drain into the ground, but it does not have any chance for cross contamination. So we do some special things for them too. National Park Service the same way, different utility companies and whatnot. So we still keep our foot in the traditional areas. And then the water cooler business has allowed us to branch out to hand washing. It's allowed us to branch out to bottle fillers. And the whole premise in the last 5 years, when we've really pushed Murdock as a brand name, I wanted to be sure the water coolers were simple, like my great-great-grandfather's hydrant. We sell really, I always get my best ideas from the operations and maintenance people. The people who are out there turning a wrench give me some great ideas. Hey, Bob, if you did it this way. And I live in the hole with a contractor. I can put my suit on, I'll go make a call on an architect or engineer, but I get my best ideas when I'm out there in the field working with these guys.
Sure.
And the cool part about it is they react very well. Our products are simple. We don't use a lot of electronics. In fact, the only electronics we have typically would be the sensor operated units when someone wants to have touch-free operation. And so when you take, well, Murdock will be 170 years old next year, which is really hard to believe. So you take that history, you keep your foot in traditional areas so that you know you've got a good basis, and then you have the opportunity to expand and do some really cool whiz bang stuff that people just have never thought of before.
That kind of comes back to the serviceability piece. I kind of want to talk and focus a little bit about that. Obviously, I think you guys approach it the right way by going to the field, asking those people, especially the people that have to service these all the time.
Correct.
So that's the facilities person, right?
That is correct.
In many cases. So you're going to that source and asking for their thoughts, their ideas, and then developing your product that way.
Absolutely.
I do know that we've only been with Murdock just a few months.
Couple months,
and in that time frame, the one thing is really stood out to me is the ease of service versus the competition. And I wanted to see if you could elaborate a bit on that.
Sure, absolutely. I knew that, you know, my father was good friends with Ed Benowa. There's a company in Columbus, Ohio, was a water cooler manufacturer. And I would work up there from time to time, and they were in Columbus, Ohio. So the funny part is you had three major firms in the state of Ohio. I have no idea how that happened. You had Halsey, Taylor, Oasis, and Murdock. And we weren't competitors back then because I made outdoor product and the Oasis guys made indoor products. So it was no big deal. But Mr. Benowa and my father were good friends. And so we would go back and forth. And Murdock Manufacturing Supply Company sold, you know, at that time it was called Aquarius. It was their Canadian brand line. So we sold that. And so for me, you know, being able to build those products, I saw the issues that they would have and the electronics and things like that. And currently the competition has got all kinds of bells and whistles on their units. And I found that from talking to, you know, the maintenance people, they didn't want to have all these electric switches. They didn't want to have this. They didn't want to have that. And it got, again, it got my brain thinking about what did my great-great-grandfather do, right? How do you make it simple? How do you repair it if you don't have the tools? So what we've done with our current water cooler is we've offered something called the auto stop, because the only thing that as I told Donna, we discussed it multiple times. I said, we can't give the maintenance guy anything. We can't buy his loyalty. We can't give him a gift. We can't do anything, but what we can do for him is give him time. We can find a way to give him time. That's the only thing we can buy back for him. So how do we make it simple? Well, if they can avoid laying on their back, taking that lower skirt off that water cooler to get in there to turn the stopcock off, to turn the water, pardon me, to turn the water off to work on the cooler, why don't we find a way to do that? And when you unscrew the auto stop, the water flow to the push button, which is a mechanical push button, immediately stops. So the push button cartridge is a common cartridge. It's been made for many, many years. A lot of plumbers have it in their desk drawer. And so it's a simple thing. And so the neat part about it also adjusts the flow height of the stream. But you can pop that cartridge out, pop the new one in, tighten it down, and then turn the water flow back on, adjust the stream height, and you're in and out of there in 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes.
That's outstanding.
And that is the main working portion of that water cooler or drinking fountain if it's non-chilled. So the neat part about it, we decided to extend that a little bit further. So in the days of old, you have to drop the shroud down to get to the filter.
Correct.
Well, how can we find a way to make that simple? Well, in our case of a drop-down filter, all you have to do is the same thing. The new drop-down filter drops right down out of the apron, and you can, with a quarter turn, you pop it off, you pop the new one on, you're out of there in 5 minutes. You don't have to turn the water off to the unit, and it's all said and done. And doing these simple things, you know, obviously all the push buttons, all the plastic parts have antimicrobial, of course. For an example, the competition sometimes has a water cooler deck that has 2 drains in it, okay? And specifically did it so you could set a bottle there. Well, you know, when you talk to the health department people, they don't like 2 drains. 2 drains could be specifically causing more germs to grow in 2 separate drains. Sure. And, you know, they really don't want anyone setting their water bottle down on that deck, because whatever germs you have on that water bottle is going to be transferred to the next water bottle.
Right.
Sure.
So unfortunately, you know, kids these days and adults too, they don't have a normal sized water vessel anymore. They have water vessels that look like they're going to cross the Mojave when they're only going to the high school. They're going to need you're going to need a burro to carry all that water. Okay, so it just gets out of control. But
it is, it's crazy. So it's a jug. It's not a bottle. It's a jug.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think what's really neat with working with the internal people at PM Associates, and Michael said, we have to have filters. We have to have bottle counters. I said, no, you don't. Yeah. No, you really don't. I said, it's an optional thing. And I said, the filters and the bottle counters and all that stuff, That's just one more thing the maintenance guy doesn't want to screw around with. Okay, so like the competition has lights that go from red to yellow to green. And we found out from the maintenance guys, when it goes from red to yellow, people lose their minds.
Sure.
Okay. And they start calling them, oh my God, we got to do this, we got to do that. We're all going to die. You know, no. So ours simply says, please replace filters soon.
Yeah.
Very simple.
Yeah, because yellow says caution and red says
oh yeah,
don't do it, right?
But when it goes to yellow, they freak out. We forget about it going to red.
Sure.
So we got rid of that type of thing. And obviously our bottle counters are optional. Okay. Our filters are optional.
Right.
And come to find out, everyone at PM Associates all of a sudden found out they didn't have to sell the water cooler with the filter and the bottle counter.
Right.
And they're selling 50% of without those two items.
Sure.
Yeah.
A lot of times if the tree huggers and bark eaters aren't present, then they don't want a bottle counter. Okay?
Right.
Right.
You know?
Well, and you know,
and really, truthfully, it's not a bottle counter. It's actually how many gallons of water.
Right. I was going to say, it doesn't actually count the number of bottles, right? Yeah. Which was always a big misconception that I always thought. I was like, wow, you know, yeah.
Well, and quite honestly, I've walked up to those. If you don't know what that counter is, you don't know what that counter is. It really is, doesn't really tell the consumer.
How many bottles saved. We all say how many bottles saved because the public understands that.
Mm-hmm.
But the cool part about the simplicity of the Murdock water coolers and drinking fountains is that they can be repaired with simple hand tools. The common parts and that sort of thing. Yeah, I don't want the plumber to worry about the sealed compressor. We offer a 5-year warranty on that. We offer the standard industry warranties on those. And like a lot of Murdock stuff, you know, if somebody needs a set of washers, 3 leather washers, I'm going to mail them out to them and say, thank you so much for using the product. And this is what's going to happen. You know, the maintenance people, all of our reps have spare parts, simple things like the cartridges and whatnot. And we always make sure that the reps have those so that their maintenance people have those. So for us, for Murdock, we talk about a top-down, bottom-up sell. Top-down means I have to have the rep make sure that we get into specifications. We've got to have our name in there as an equal with every architect and engineer that's out there. But the bottom-up sell means that we come from the guys who are going to be the simplistic people in the area. They want to take an old cooler off, pop a new one on there. They really don't want to repair it. So our universal bracket, you can take the competitor's model off the wall, you can slip ours right on the place. And we actually offer a larger opening in the back to make it easier than the competition does too, to make the connections.
Bob, I know that's the case with our A171 series.
That is correct.
It's almost a 1-for-1, take it off the wall and throw the Murdock on there. Is that the case for other units within the line, or is it mostly focused on that particular unit, which is probably the most popular unit?
I was going to say, if we're going to use the old 80-20 rule, you know, the singles, the bi-levels, with a bottle filler, those are typically the ones that happen. When you get a little dressier, when you look at what we call the bird bath series, the fancier series, the architectural series, those won't always be the case, but we make ours very easy that everything is right there again you don't have to service it, for an example.
Sure.
You know, the competition, you have to literally disassemble the unit completely off the wall when you get to the real fancy units. Ours is very simple. We have a screw in the center drain. You take the screw out and it's a clamshell device. So it literally just pops the top off and you're right there looking at all the inner works right there. That's on top of that, all of our auto stop has been integrated into that also. So then you don't even have to get into the wall.
I've had to mess with the others.
Then, you know, you almost have to beat it up to get it off the wall and get it apart.
Right.
So that's great news.
You don't have to do that.
I wanted to just share this picture. Hopefully it'll show up well, but
yes. Yep.
Ours, the interior of ours versus theirs.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I mean, I think that speaks volumes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot of maintenance guys with tiny hands either.
It just speaks for itself.
No. And it was 15 years ago. I was in Boston. I was making a call at the University of Boston, and their physical plant people came out, and I was unprepared for it. I had my show trailer with me, and there were 30 guys that came out, and I thought, holy crap, this is, you know, what am I going to do? I've got lunch and learn. I've got hot dogs for everybody, but we were grilling out in this sort of thing, and they're carrying this big box. And I'm thinking, oh God, what do they got in there? Well, come to find out, I get closer, it's a competitor's water cooler. All right. Okay. And they brought it out, and there was their new model with everything. And they set it down, and the head of the operational group says, I need your help. I said, that's not one of mine. He says, no, it's not one of yours. That's why I'm here to look at yours. I said, well, tell me what's going on. And he took the lid, took the deck off, and looked in that was that picture.
Yes.
I looked down and I said, what the hell? What are you supposed to do? He said, I know. He says, I have to call the electrical engineering group to get them over here and show me what I'm supposed to do.
Oh my gosh.
One of the piezo switches doesn't work. He says, we can't connect this. And this is, I said, dude, I said, let's see if we can
Yes.
work your way through this. And so then I happened to have my water cooler. I got it out of the back of the truck. I said, here's mine. And he popped the deck on. He said, Christ.
Sold.
He said,
Yeah.
sold.
I'm sold.
And so, to
Done.
me, I'm like Don. Don and I, Ringling Brothers, Barnum Bailey. We are the ringmasters. I got to show you something. Okay,
Yeah.
I got to show you what the hell is going on. So we took the auto stop apart. We took the cartridge apart, showed him how simple it was. He says, "Can one of my guys do that?" I said, "Sure." And they, like that, the maintenance guys got it. They understood it. They kicked that other cooler to the curb and they said, "This is what we want."
Yes.
Because it's basically about giving people a chilled or fresh drink of water.
Mhm.
It's coming out of a hole to fill the bottle, coming out of the bubbler. Make it simple. For crying out loud, you're not launching something to the moon. Don't over engineer the product that people don't want.
Right. Yep.
People buy cars today. They want to go back to roll up windows and manual locks. Okay. They don't want all the stuff that goes wrong.
Right.
So the maintenance guys who don't have any time, for example, the city of Chicago, their park and recreation department. If you can believe, the city of Chicago has 590 individual parks within the Chicago Police.
Wow.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
590 in the Chicagoland area.
That's amazing.
Wow.
They have 15 plumbers and 1
Whoa.
supervisor.
Oh,
Okay.
that's
15 for 590.
Yeah.
90 parks. Exactly.
yeah. They need ease.
Oh.
Yes, exactly. So what happened?
And they all have a Murdock, correct? Yes.
They've had Murdock since about 1910. They actually have the engineering drawings on the wall that my great grandfather did.
Oh, that's cool.
So
They framed.
cool.
So we have a lot of Murdock product there. But then what happened when the competition got sold out to private equity, they were not happy about that. And obviously, competition's in the backyard there. So what they did was I gave them a couple water coolers to try out. When they found out that the cartridge that fits the outdoor water features and drinking fountains is the same cartridge that we use on the indoor units.
Mm-hmm.
Signed, sealed, delivered, sold, boom.
Sold
Heck
again.
yes. Absolutely.
The commonality of parts is something I've striven for,
Mhm.
strive to do, so that, because people don't want to have thousands of parts sitting here. They
Right.
don't want
Sure.
expensive things to replace.
Yep.
We all know, Tiffany, Todd, how expensive it is to replace those 3 electric piezo buttons on that competitor water cooler.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
They don't want to do that. They don't want to spend the money. Their budgets are tight. They don't want to spend the money. So the Chicago park guys thought, oh my God, we got a common part for indoor and outdoor. Sold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We kept
That's
it
great.
simple, Todd. We kept it simple.
Well,
That's the way to do
again,
it.
I think it keeps coming back for me anyway. You
Mhm.
said it earlier. A consumer just wants a drink of water, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Want to drink
so
water.
you're not doing all these things for that consumer. You're doing that for the facilities person and the person that's going to have to take care of that unit for years.
That is correct.
And
Right.
That
as
is
you
correct.
mentioned, stock
And those
potentially some
15
parts.
plumbers that are
Right.
servicing
No, I think
hundreds
it's
of
great.
parks.
And
Yeah.
if you just look simply at the competitors' unit, if you just look at their bottle filler and you put our bottle filler next to it with our
Mhm.
water cooler. My problem is that when you look at their unit, and I please don't get me wrong, I don't mean to slam it, but to me it's a
Mhm.
visual thing. It has to look inviting. For you to take your bottle and want to put it there,
Sure.
use your hand there, it has to look inviting. So if you look at our bottle filler and you look at theirs, just look at the color of the recess. Okay. Ours is a light, looks bright, has H2O to go on it, by Murdock. It looks inviting and it lights up. It's got 2 LED lights when you have the bottle filler counter there and whatnot. But theirs is dark and gray and looks muddy and dirty. And you put ours
Yep.
side by side, people feel good about using our unit. It's
Yep.
a visual thing. It's a visual
Absolutely.
thing. The graphics, which leads me to obviously, all the custom colors we can give you and the graphics that
Yes.
you see.
I just read about this on your website, and I think
Yeah.
it's so incredible that you can actually swatch the Pantone color to the
Yes.
exact color of your logo, your brand in any kind of facility.
Yes.
I mean, it's just awesome.
Well, what taught me was a lesson about 10 years ago. Jeff Showalter, who runs our Neo Metro division, which is very high line, plumbing line and whatnot. He said, I'm doing some logos. He said, you might want to try that sometime. And I thought, okay. So our rep in Detroit had a very large school job, but it was a fairly tough high school. So they were buying our prison fixtures, our 14 gauge water cooler. And it was a nice order. And I thought, it'd be kind of fun, to give the school their logo and that sort of thing. So I asked him, back then it was a PDF file, right? So he
Right.
gave me the school mascot, which was an eagle.
Yeah.
And so I talked to the rep. I said, hey, it's a nice order. I'd like to do this for the school. We're going to put their mascot on the water cooler. And he thought, that's kind of cool. Let's do that. He says, it's a tough market. He said, we're using a J.R. Smith carrier behind the wall so we can hang it on there because it's a beast.
Yeah.
So he said, I'll let you know how things go. And so we logoed probably 45 units, singles and bi-levels. with the Eagle, did it in dark blue. It looked gorgeous on there.
Yeah.
And so they installed everything, and 6 or 8 months went by, and I had not heard from him. So I called him. I said, "Hey, how are things going? You told me that the vandalism is really hard and whatnot." He says, "What are you talking about?" I said, "The school, that school district was." He said, "They haven't bothered anything." I said, "Well, how come? Is it because?" He said, "Oh, no. No one's going to touch the school mascot."
Oh my gosh.
I said,
That is
"Really?
so cool.
Really?"
Wow.
So all of a sudden it became the school's water cooler. Okay.
Yeah.
Because it had the mascot on there. So
You bet.
nobody touched
Absolutely.
the water cooler. And here we are. My God, it's probably 8 years ago. Here we are, and they've never had a problem with them. They're
Yeah.
all still there doing what they're supposed to be doing. So my light bulb went on, and I thought,
Let's
I
do
bet
this
other
for
people would
everybody.
like to do this.
Yeah.
Heck yes.
So as long as you don't give me War and Peace to put on there, but I mean, we do it inside, we do outdoor, but we found that people will spend more money on their logos and their colors and we do Planet Fitness, we do all these different things. They'll spend more
yeah.
money on that than the cost of the water cooler.
Well, there's a lot of pride in seeing your
Absolutely.
logo.
Absolutely.
And
Such great
seeing the
brand awareness. Absolutely.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
great.
So it's just different. It's so cool. People get to do that. It's a lot easier to do 10 or 20 than it is to do one.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
Because of the cost of powder coat these days, but we can do some really cool things both indoor and outdoor.
You mentioned bottle fillers. I want to go back to that as well.
Sure.
Talking about bottle fillers, obviously post-COVID era, the bottle filler has been flying off the shelves, and we're making lots of not only change outs one for one, getting a cooler off the wall and maybe replacing it with a cooler and a bottle filler, but which we provide. We have that. Murdock has your complete, units with the bottle filler by level with the bottle filler, standalone bottle fillers as well, which I'll get to the EZREACH in just a moment. But it's really important to know that, a lot of facilities and areas and businesses, they've already got their water cooler in place, but they do not have a bottle filler on it. I want to make sure that we let the people know that they're not stuck with that manufacturer's bottle filler. If they need to add a bottle filler, we're a great resource for that and I want you to explain more about this, but ours will retrofit to a competitor's model that's currently installed. So it's a great opportunity to put a great bottle filler on your unit without adding more expense.
Well, there's actually a couple of parts of that conversation, Todd. What happens is that there are certain models, depending on the deck configuration, okay? The newer models of the competitors' units, we can fit our bottle filler, a BF 12 right on there, and you have to drill the deck and whatnot. So we found out that, not everybody wants a bottle filler right away, but they may later. So what happens, all of our drinking fountains and water coolers, all the A17 series, they go out already pre-drilled with a stainless plug there. So if later on somebody wants to put a bottle filler on, they can do that. So that when it comes to inventory, whether it's on your consignment or whether it's at the wholesaler, they don't have to stock so many with or without. They all come up with a plug, the removable pop-out plug. So the bottle fillers really took off. Obviously, as you said, for COVID went up. But I think what happened, since people really learned about health benefits of water, keeping it with you, the biggest business in the world is making the bottles these days. I've never seen so many configurations of bottles. But I think that bottle fillers are here to stay. I remember, the competition many, many years ago brought it out, and they decided to try it out, and it was called the hydration station. What a name. How do you brand that thing, right?
Right.
And everybody thought, oh, it's just a flash in the pan, no big deal. But how many times have you gone and seen people who hold their bottle sideways trying to fill it out of a bubbler?
You bet.
Right?
Yep.
Myself
we finally
included.
figured out, let's turn it vertically and get the spout that way.
Right.
So that kind of route. So when you talk about adding a bottle filler, even if you know the outdoor, the old box fountains, the old square type box fountains, we have a retrofit called a BF2SC, which is a smaller version of the BF2, and it literally will drop right on top of the arm. And we have 2 different lengths of trays that we ship with it. So depending on who the manufacturer is, you have a long tray or short tray, will drop right into that bowl water. And now you've added a simple bottle filler right on the back of it. It bolts right to the wall. It may or may not be refrigerated, but you've got a bottle filler now.
Yeah.
So for a lot of schools and that sort of thing, you have the bi-level boxes everywhere. They may have a block wall. They may not be able to cut the wall out and put in a full-blown bottle filler. So ours will retrofit right on top of that box fountain.
That's awesome.
Which is really cool. It works out well that way.
And it's good looking. I have seen it retrofitted onto some units, and it's a good looking unit. Well, they match well. They tend to marry up with the product that's existing. It doesn't look out of place. You don't sit there and go, oh, that not very attractive. It's very attractive, even on our competitors' units.
That's correct.
And so let's talk about the EZREACH. This is a new product for Murdock, and
that was during the middle of COVID. We pivoted to it because we thought, hey, we have the configuration. So why don't we try something like this? That was, again, design it on Monday, sell it on Friday. And we literally, Murdock was at the top of the heap when it came to engineering for those couple of years. And we drove engineering crazy. Don and I had already configured in our minds what we wanted. And we said, go ahead, engineer. This is what we need to do. We'd spend 2 hours, 3 hours on Monday, cut and paste and doing this sort of thing online. Everyone was online. Everybody was on screen. Few of us were together because everybody was afraid that you were going to catch something from your neighbor.
Yes.
So I had 26 faces on the screen, and it's like, I felt like,
oh my gosh,
future consequences, or
right.
Pick a square. What was the name of the old game show? It's the Brady Bunch times 10.
Right.
Exactly.
So it was wild. So, but we would design these things, and that EZREACH came out of the fact that we said, hey, why don't we make this thing a little more compact? Not everybody wants a bottle. Nobody wants a bubbler anymore. So let's make it simple. But oh, by the way, let's make sure it fits on the same envelope as a water cooler.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the bottle filler, the EZREACH, if you notice, the EZREACH has like half a deck.
Right. About 12 inches, I believe.
Right. Exactly. Doesn't protrude out into the walk space very far. It's slim, it's trim, and done with color. It's magnificent.
Oh,
and so again, we use the common BF12. We repurposed it onto a smaller deck. It still is chilled. Okay. It still is very simple operation, sensor operated, push button operated. You can get it with a filter, you can get it without a filter, you can get it with a bottle counter or not, whatever you wish. And again, it's compact against the wall. That's the cool part about that.
It is available non-chilled as well, correct?
That is correct.
If you've got a louvered cabinet, then you know you have a chilled unit.
That is correct. And the cabinets are such that we also give you a remote chiller. If you don't have room behind the wall and you need to put that chiller in the ceiling, we can give you a remote chiller also. Yep,
that's
absolutely.
great.
With and without a filter too.
It's a great product. It makes great sense. I'm actually relieved because I was of the thinking, same as you. I thought the bubbler was dead and gone in 2020. I really
did. Done by media.
And
media did that to everybody.
Sure.
There was no COVID in water.
Yeah, right.
There's no COVID
exactly.
In water, okay. It's you're going to learn more about other things, but there was no COVID in water. So
I figured the bigger concern was putting your mouth on the bubbler kind of thing, and that's what I thought.
People do that, then we have a different problem. Okay?
Yeah. Right.
Yep. It's like
exactly.
Not trying to start a leaf blower here.
Don't lick the bubbler.
Drink of water, crying out loud. Okay. It's simple,
exactly.
Right? Yeah. So let's make it simple, right?
Yeah, but I thought a product like EZREACH was going to dominate. But actually, like I said, I'm relieved to see that units with bubblers are still selling as well today as they were. But now we have this add-on feature of the bottle filler, which let's take it aside from COVID. It's convenient. I gave up soda years ago, and when I gave up soda, that meant I needed to carry, because I always wanted to be drinking something. I would drink 6 Diet Cokes a day. So that's when I went to this system of having that. And the bottle filler at that time really wasn't much you didn't really see them anywhere. Matter of fact, Hydration Station was just making its debut at that time. And so I was one of those people who would sit there and work and hope for a high stream. God, I hope this thing's got a high stream on it. Otherwise, I got a quarter of a bottle.
Exactly.
Just tip it over as much as you possibly can. Yeah.
Yeah.
So still never fill your bottle. So.
Exactly.
No,
right.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
So the bottle filler for me is exciting, and the EZREACH, while the bubbler is not going away, and I don't think it ever will, there are going to be situations, there are going to be specs that call for an area where they don't want the bubbler. And the EZREACH is a great product for that. And I just, one other thing I want to ask you, Bob, this is another one that we could take like the A171 off the wall. Would this mount right back into that place?
Goes right in the same mounting bracket. That is correct.
That's awesome.
So again, we just make it simple. We make it simple. The plumbing connections, the drains, the supply, the electric are all in the same place. It uses the same footprint.
One thing I'm going to take home from today, and I've already kind of known it from studying the product and selling the product, but after talking to you and listening to you, simple. It just keeps coming back to simple. Keep it simple. And that goes all the way, not just for the facilities guy, that goes for any of the wholesalers that are going to stock Murdock product. We're going to give you fewer SKUs, but allow you to do more things with those fewer SKUs.
Absolutely.
Well, the Indianapolis office was the first place that got that. They can mix and match.
Yep.
It's great. Now we're reconfiguring the box that they're going to be able to slip the filter right inside there.
That's great.
Quite frankly, when I talked to facilities people, I said, the bottle counter is really overused in such a manner. Let's make it simple. Let's make it a PM. The week before school starts and the week of spring break, replace the filter.
Yeah.
Because, we have a 1,500 gallon filter and we have a 3,000 gallon filter. The competition focuses so hard on that 3,000 gallon filter, but it's also got a cork code in it. You have to reset it to match the bottle count and all that kind of crap. We don't do that. Okay. The reason I say I like the 1,500 gallon filter is because you know it's going to get changed frequently. My fear is that if you have a 3,000 gallon filter there, and let's say it's May 15th or May 20th, and it's got 2,000 gallons or 2,200 gallons of water that's already run through it. School shuts down.
Yep.
That tank design that they have and that filter sits stagnant all the way through until school starts again. Okay,
Yeah.
so that first draw from that filter or whatever, like, think of the contaminants that's trapped there, but it's not, the school's obviously not got the air conditioning on in July and August.
Sure.
June, July
Yeah.
and August, it's empty. So that thing is sitting there like that. And so is their tank. Remember, we don't have a tank on ours. We have coil and coil cooling. So we've done away with the tank. So the most water you're going to have on our coils is maybe 1/8 of a gallon, maybe.
Right.
And so again, I tell everyone the week before school starts, again, it's spring break. And that way, the school is protected. The hospital, the same thing. Every 6 months, replace that doggone filter.
Sure.
You don't have to worry about lights, bells, and whistles. Put it on as part of the PM for the system. And since you've got the Murdock drop-down door, it becomes a 5-minute exercise.
Right.
Shuts
Right.
off, boom, boom, he's done. He's in and out of
So
there.
simple.
Let it run.
Yeah.
Yeah, you went there before I did. That's what I was going to
Yeah.
say.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so the thing is, that then PM becomes a very simple thing. You can teach the janitor how to do it. You can teach the janitor how to remove the cartridge. Because in today's world, my fear is people don't know the difference between a flat blade and a Phillips head screwdriver anymore. Okay.
Right.
We're that basic right now.
Right.
I don't need I don't need things. I need welders, I need electricians, I need plumbers, I need tools, I need people to work at the foundries. I don't need another PhD working at Starbucks. I need people who can work with their hands. And the facilities and maintenance people are the first line of defense against anything. The first line of offense for a facility. They need to be that person. So to be able to communicate with them on a simple message that they understand, they don't have to read up on it. They can get on YouTube and take a look at it. Boom, boom, bang. All of our salespeople, you guys as reps, you're going to go and show them how simple it is.
Sure.
The product sells itself.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
And we're a family-owned business.
Fifth generation too.
That's right. Well, I know that we've only been repping you for a few months, but we are so excited for the future and our partnership. We're so excited about that. What do you see for the future of Murdock? Or the industry? What are you excited about, Bob?
I think it's in great hands. We've got the 3rd generation Morris family in there. The kids, I've known the kids for years now, and they're dedicated, hardworking people. Don's youngest child will probably be CEO in 2080. And so I look back and see all that. We plan for the future. Don.
Sure.
Don is one of those kind of guys. He has a memory like an elephant, and we always look at these projects and say, "Well, how do you eat an elephant?" Well, one bite at a time. All right.
Exactly.
So that's how we work these projects. So the cool part is, I love the bottle fillers because I'm one of the family businesses. We're in the bourbon business. We have our distillery in Kentucky and whatnot. It's Patterson Brothers Distillery. So I figured, people who like bourbon need a splash of water. So I got a bottle filler, give them a splash of water. So
that's awesome.
Really
When's the bourbon filler coming
out? And also that's what I was going to say. And also I need a bourbon filler.
When's the bourbon filler coming out?
Well,
that is your next $1 million idea.
You sell a ton of those.
$100 million idea.
And we have a couple installed in different stores in Kentucky. It's kind of fun to do that because with Murdock's 170th, we'll obviously have some Murdock bourbon and some of the Patterson Brothers Distillery stuff and whatnot. So it's it's fun because we have a great time together. We are, when you think about our family, I like to say we have a family. We put the fun in dysfunctional some days because the thing is, we are so passionate about our products and what we do.
Yeah.
We're not doing it for anybody else other than ourselves and our customers, and our employees that make it all happen together. And the people that work with us, I don't like to say they work for us. They work with us because the freedom of expression that you have. And somebody will say to Don, "Well, that's a stupid idea." Where else can you go to a CEO and say, "That's a stupid idea"?
Yeah.
And still keep your job, sure.
Right.
Exactly. And Don accepts the criticism because he knows sometimes, he's an accountant by trade. Okay, he happens to be a sales guy.
Yep.
He's got a degree in accounting. And my God, the bone pickers, I call him. He's an accountant, but he's a salesman extraordinaire, and we love being that ringmaster. And I call him. He's the ringmaster of this 3-ring circus. And we have so much fun because the people that represent us become family too.
That's great.
It's all part
and you
of it.
can see that passion in everyone that we've worked with.
We're proud to be part of that family now too.
Well, and you guys are our first customer. That's how I look at it.
Right.
Okay. If you don't feel good about selling our product for whatever reason, and there's times that we've come up with product that have gone just sideways. Okay. But we're not going to walk away from it. We admit it. We made a mistake. We're here to fix it. Okay. And tell us what we've done right. Tell us what we've done wrong. Don't be afraid of that.
I love it.
Hey, Bob, I saw this out here. And if you did it this way, and hey, we tried it this way. I've got so many reps that tear into our product, and it's like, okay, show me how. Show me a better way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know? And I love that. I love that.
That's fantastic. Well, Bob, thank you so much again. This has
thanks for putting up
been
with my long-winded
such a great
expressions.
time.
Oh, it was great.
No,
Great information.
absolutely. Such great information. So great to talk to you and get to know you better.
Well,
And
you
yeah,
got my cell number. You know, I
absolutely.
just tell everybody.
well, I'll be down to that distillery sooner rather than later. Yeah.
We're going to need to get to the address of that distillery.
Yes.
And I think there you good. You froze up
Oh,
for a second.
yeah.
I'm glad we got you back there. So,
but
Bob, we're thrilled to death to be representing Murdock, and you know, with the limited time we've had with it, I'm so impressed with it, and I'm having fun selling it. I can't necessarily say that for when I sold the competition. And
well,
and I really do mean that.
I told Michael, I said I looked him square straight in the eye the first meeting I had, and I said, I know you know how to take an order for a water cooler. Can you sell to get the order for a water cooler? Because I don't have the specifications. I don't have all the things. I don't have the $100,000 fishing trip or the hog trip. I don't have those things. Show me if we can get there. Then we can go do those things. Okay, but Murdock's not there yet.
Well,
so he looked me square in the eye and says, we're up to the challenge. We need a new challenge. We want to do this. And so I have been so impressed by the people at PM and Associates, because you guys,
thank you.
I mean, think about it. I mean, it's just, everybody has their job. I mean, I'm amazed the people that I speak with and whatnot. Everybody's got it. And man, you are blowing and going.
Well, thank you.
Oh, thank you, Bob.
I never thought in my wildest dreams I'd have a Class A rep be able to represent Murdock. I'm so thrilled to be able to have that capability. So anytime you need us, keep me on speed dial. You know, I'm available wherever. I may be on a call, but I will always call you back. That's not a problem.
Know what? And he's not joking either, because I'll tell you that every time I've reached out to you, Bob, you have gotten right back to us. So I mean, that's the name on the cooler, and you're involved with it every single day.
Absolutely.
And your passion shows.
Skin in the game.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again, Bob. And for anyone who wants more information, please reach out to PM and Associates at 317-827-0419, or you can find us online at p-massoc.com. Thanks again, Bob.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
All righty. Have a great day.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.